Hi, today I will be reviewing over the heart anatomy, starting off with the location of the heart. The heart sits in the thoracic cavity, which is in your chest area. More specifically, it's right in the middle between the lungs in a space called the mediastinum. It's protected by a double-layered membrane called the pericardium, or pericardial sac, which surrounds the heart like a cushion. Inside that sac is the pericardial cavity, filled with fluid to reduce friction as the heart beats. The back of the heart, or the dorsal cavity, is close to your spine, and the front sits behind your sternum and ribs. The heart consists of 4 chambers. The top 2 are the right atrium and left atrium. These are the receiving chambers where blood first enters the heart. The bottom 2 are the right and left ventricles, the chambers that do the pumping. Going through the steps that the blood takes to get through the heart, starting off with step 1. Blood from the body enters the right atrium. It then flows through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. From there, it's pumped through the pulmonary valve into the pulmonary trunk, which splits into 2 pulmonary arteries and carries the blood to the lungs. After picking up oxygen in the lungs, blood comes back through pulmonary veins into the left atrium. It then flows through the mitral valve into the left ventricle. Finally, it's pumped out through the aortic valve into the aorta, which carries it throughout the rest of the body. This cycle repeats every second over and over. The wall of the heart has 3 layers. The first one is called the epicardium, which is the outermost layer. The second one is the myocardium. It's the middle muscular layer. This is the one that contracts to pump blood. The next is the endocardium, which is the innermost layer lining the chambers and valves of the heart. The endocardium is made of a smooth tissue called endothelium, which is the same material that lines your blood vessels. This smooth surface keeps your blood flowing easily inside the heart. Now let's talk more about the myocardium, or the heart muscle. One thing to notice is that the left ventricle has a much thicker wall than the right, and that's because it's to pump blood over your body, which takes a lot more pressure. In contrast, the right ventricle only pumps blood to the lungs, which are nearby and require much less force. That is why the muscle is thinner. The myocardium is made mostly of cardiac muscle cells, strong specialized muscles that work nonstop. These muscle fibers are arranged in a figure 8 pattern, especially around the atria and the base of the major arteries. This unique shape helps the heart contract in a twisting motion, which is much more effective at pushing blood out. The right atrium is where low oxygen blood from the body enters the heart. It passes through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. The pectinate muscles are ridged muscle walls inside the atrium that help with contraction. Inside the right ventricle, you'll see the chordae tendineae. Then you'll also see the papillary muscles, which help keep the valve flaps from flipping backwards. There are 3 muscles: anterior, posterior, and septal. You'll also notice the trabecular caudinae, which are ridges in the ventricle wall that help it contract better. The left atrium receives oxygen-rich blood from the lungs through the pulmonary veins. From there, blood passes through the mitral valve, also known as the bicuspid valve, into the left ventricle. Just like on the right side, this valve is held in place by chordae tendineae, which are attached to papillary muscles. In this case, just 2 of them, one anterior and one posterior. The left ventricle also has trabecular caudinae, which help it contract enough to send blood through the entire body. Even though the heart pumps blood to the entire body, it also needs its own supply of oxygen. That's where the coronary circulation comes in. Cardiac veins collect blood used by the heart muscle. The biggest of these is the great cardiac vein, which runs along the anterior interventricular artery and drains the front of the heart. This vein collects blood from smaller veins, including the posterior cardiac vein, which runs along the marginal artery, the middle cardiac vein, which runs with the posterior interventricular artery, and the small cardiac vein, which we'll talk about more on the next slide. The small cardiac vein follows the right coronary artery and drains blood from the backside of the right atrium and right ventricle. All these veins eventually drain into the coronary sinus, which is a large vein on the back of the heart in a groove called the atrioventricular sulcus. The coronary sinus empties directly into the right atrium, returning used blood from the heart muscles. There are also anterior cardiac veins, which drain the front of the heart directly into the right atrium, skipping the coronary sinus. Now let's look at the major vessels that carry blood away from the heart. The pulmonary trunk is the big vessel that splits into the right and left pulmonary arteries, taking blood from the lungs. The ascending aorta carries oxygen-rich blood from the left ventricle upward into the aortic arch. From the aortic arch, there are three main branches: the brachiocephalic artery, the left common carotid artery, and the left subclavian artery. These supply blood to the head, neck, and arms. The heart has four great vessels connected to its base, which is a part of the heart. The superior vena cava and inferior vena cava bring blood into the right atrium from the body. The aorta and pulmonary trunk carry blood out of the heart. The apex of the heart is the pointed tip at the top. It's located just to the left of your sternum between your fourth and fifth ribs. This is also where doctors often place the stethoscope to hear the heartbeat. This image shows the anterior view of the heart's coronary circulation, meaning the blood supply that serves the heart muscle itself. The right and left coronary arteries branch off the base of the aorta. The left coronary artery splits into the circumflex artery and the anterior interventricular artery, which run along the front of the heart. The marginal artery supply blood to the outer surface of the heart. This network keeps the heart nourished and functioning with a steady supply of oxygen-rich blood. Here you can see the coronary sinus, where many veins drain into the posterior cardiac vein, middle vein, and the other veins we mentioned earlier. The posterior interventricular artery supplying blood to the back of the heart. Coronary circulation is vital because if any of these vessels get blocked, parts of the heart muscles can become damaged, leading to conditions like a heart attack. As you can see, the heart is more than just a pump. It's an organ designed with layers, valves, and vessels working in perfect coordination to keep you alive.